Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I use this channel to sort of talk about my mental health and use it as a diary for my journey. Typically, I talk more about that stuff, but today I kind of wanted to just hop on and make a quick video about the ongoing situation with Cody Ko and the allegations against him made by Tana Mojo. Look at me diving into the YouTube drama sphere. I am in a different setup for now, so my videos will be a little bit back to normal next week. So for those who don't know, Cody Ko is like a super popular streamer and YouTube commentator guy, and recently a lot of allegations are starting to surface from Tana Mojo, another YouTube personality, who discussed that they had a intimate relationship when she was 17 and he was 25. It's been known for a while, but now it's really only starting to resurface because Tana was going on some live podcasts and brought it up. And then because of that, then subsequently started talking about it more and more. It's tricky because she talks about it being pseudo consensual, which from an outside perspective, it's easy to say, oh, that's not consensual at all because he was 25 and she was 17. She was a fan of his. He was super popular on YouTube still at that time. And so the power imbalance and really concerning. And I think that's true. And I think the difficulty of what we're seeing now is even still in this post Me Too, whatever post Me Too this world is, we had this belief that we would believe victims more and more when they come forward with their stories. And that's not been happening for Tana. It's even still a lot of victim blaming or even outright refusal to believe her and attacks on her character and all of the misogyny. Most painful thing. I think if she came forward and was even talking about it being a terrible experience for her, that would be one thing. But I think because she's talking about it in the sense of not even really wanting to press charges or just wanting closure about it all, not even getting that, and now because all she's doing is speaking her truth, that she's getting reprimanded for it or attacked for it or just eviscerated online. And that sucks still, that we're still here, that in a place where we just don't believe women and we would rather attack a woman's character than sit and look at the behavior of the person that they are alleging these crimes against. And I want to use the term allegedly just to cover my own ass. But her story was corroborated by a third party, which is particularly damning. And that makes it all a little muddy, especially because Cody is silent. And that silence is deafening more than anything else. And I think this is another example of that absolute power corrupting absolutely. Because this is my perception of people who skyrocket to fame, especially like internet fame based on Vine and YouTube very quickly and in a very young age, is that fame doesn't wipe away personal perception or personal beliefs about ourselves. And so internet fame would still, if you are someone who is insecure and has a lot of issues with yourself and then you become famous, those issues aren't magically wiped away by fame. You're not this instantly healed and amazingly actualized version of yourself because you got famous. I think all it does is put fuel on the fire of those things if they're left unaddressed. And I think that that's a situation of what's happening here. I'm not excusing anything he's done at all. I think it's horrendous and an absolute crime because he was 25 and she was 17. regardless of anyone's level of maturity or where they met or whatever. None of that matters when you discover the age of someone and they are under the age. There's just no excuse. But I think if we can contextualize it, it can be easy to understand how it got there. I was a Cody Ko fan. I mean, I only really started being a fan of his within this past year, maybe year and a half. I hadn't really watched a lot of his videos before, didn't really know about that, but I obviously he was so popular that some of the things and videos that he did I knew about but didn't know it was him, if that makes sense. And so that's made it easier to be like, oh, forget this guy, or just like, ah, whatever, yeah, drop it. But I can, my heart goes out to people who are uber fans of Cody and learning about this and the personal reckoning that comes with that of being a super fan of someone who has done this, and how do you reconcile that as a fan? Do you drop him? Do you deny that happens? Or do you seek forgiveness? Ultimately, a lot of this, because it's a parasocial relationship, it falls on Cody and Tana. And I don't think Tana has to do anything that she doesn't want to do. Context is important. And I think contextually, it just makes sense that he was this hotshot 25-year-old who was super popular, thinking you're untouchable. And I mean, clearly he kind of still is. Like, this isn't affecting him in the ways that I think a lot of us hope it would or hope it will, because of the abuse that happened or because of the instant that happened. I just wish it never happened for Tana, especially. It's always hard to see people that we care about make mistakes like this. Mistakes are one thing, but mistakes like this that cause active and lingering suffering to a person, it's hard to come back from that. Is it possible? It's dependent. And it isn't even the sense of like, oh, not him. No, he was one of the good ones, or he he couldn't have done this. There's no way, or like I never would have expected that, or even I would have always expected that. It's tough to know someone's internal turmoil and how that manifests out. And as someone who's probably insecure or grew up in such a way that led to that, and I don't know anything about him personally. I only know his persona that he created as a YouTuber. So and this is all conjecture. But yeah, there's a little bit of that insecurity, and then when it's unhealed or unaddressed from an intrinsic place, and you work on that insecurity from an intrinsic place and become more secure in yourself, and then you receive attention, it's easy to forget about doing that internal work, and then that unaddressed stuff manifests in potentially dangerous ways, as we see. This is another example, too, of that Venn diagram of celebrity and narcissism. Celebrity and narcissism being much more interwoven than we're prepared to really admit, especially because we have this vehement hatred of narcissism, and only now are we starting to unpack and divest from this reverence and love for celebrity. But I think you talk to any famous person, and there is a level of narcissism that has to exist, because you have to sort of show up for yourself and show up and protect and support yourself in order to get to those levels. As of now, the way that the way that the system works. And obviously there are people who veer outside of that system and are still super famous and are not narcissistic at all. And obviously there are also very narcissistic people who aren't famous. And as someone who's starting out a YouTube channel, who, of course, I hope that this blows up and I get a massive following and have that fame. I mean, I've always wanted to be famous. That's something I've wanted since I was a kid. But now it's starting to become clear that we are divesting as a society away from this celebrity do no wrong, and rather reminding that if you are to be that level of famous, you have to have that responsibility at the forefront, even in front of your personality. I think the people who are becoming more and more famous now are becoming more famous because of that. Well, obviously, and there's a shadow to it too. There are people who are so devoid of that moralistic center that they become famous because we're so shocked at that. But I think other people, we prioritize that responsibility first and then the personality second, instead of the personality and then their morals, and or even forgiving someone's questionable morals. Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and yeah, I love you.